Hello, and welcome to a new episode of the CLV Revolution. Today we are going to speak about chapter 7. My guest today has 26 years in the experimentation arena as the founder of Conversion Craft, which is the leading business optimization company in the DACH region. Today we're going to speak about customer journey mapping. How complex should be the customer journey? What are the 4 steps to persuade the people in your organization to make customer journey happen? From where you need to start to swipe the stairs if you want to make change management happen in your organization. Let's dive in. So, Ron, man, thanks a lot for being here with me. What do you think about my book?
Man, Valentin, thank you for having me on here, and congratulations, first of all, on the book. Second of all, it's incredible the amount of value you put out there, and the amount that you can extract both on a tactical and a strategic level. It's pretty incredible. So thank you for putting out the value you did, and an incredible job on the book.
Thanks a lot, mate. A lot of sweat and blood, but I'm here. So finally made it. So
You made it.
yeah. Today we are speaking about chapter 10, which is about building long-term relationships. So basically, I wanted to have one of the heavy hitters in the space of customer retention and e-commerce. You are doing a tremendous job with Obvi, and I want to first focus a bit on the onboarding part of it. So what do you think about its importance? And let's kick this session on with by setting things straight about the importance of onboarding, because it's clear that everyone talks about acquisition, but I think it's a bit overvalued.
I couldn't agree more. I think one of the biggest pieces about when it comes to understanding who you've acquired, right? We look at acquisition and we say, okay, I got the customer, right? But if you don't understand who you've acquired and how they're going to behave, what they want, what they don't like, what they do like, you're not actually going to be able to take them down the path of retention. And so that's why there is this huge gap between acquisition and retention. And that is what you really, I think, in what good details put out, is that onboarding process, right? And I think that what you do in that onboarding process is builds that long-term relationship, but it really, really focuses on how to know almost each customer as their own person instead of just grouping them as buyers. And each person is and should be treated differently based on what they bought, based on where they came from, etc. And you should get to know them a little bit more, because there's so much more customization, personalization to follow. So I think it's one of the most important pieces, but it's definitely not talked about enough.
Yeah, and I think this happens for numerous reasons, but it's clear that the current market is not, let's say, mature enough. So mainly we are just at the first phase in the customer journey, which means acquisition. But now, by acting as a direct to consumer brand, as a CPG, you have this luxury, let's say, to establish genuine relationships with your thousands or even more than these customers that you've acquired. Also, one aspect which I think it's important to state is that you are in this hyper care moment. When someone just placed your order, you need to be extremely careful. So it's not like, yeah, you've got a lifelong customer, you can run for the other one, for the next one. And exactly. I want to touch a bit on this subject with you as well.
Yes. The one piece to that that's so important is even just when you look at where a customer is coming from, right? Like one of the things that I really loved is just when someone is purchasing, let's say from our company, let's say they're buying our collagen, and they came from a landing page and they bought our 3-month offer. Okay. So they bought 3 months of supply. The way I talk to that person compared to the person who came through Google Shopping and bought the collagen at 1 month on a subscription, okay? These are two totally different types of customers who have different intent, who have different purchasing power and need different types of consistency in messaging. And so I think first thing is just understanding who that person is and how they came through and what they really want. I think it's really, really important. And just like, you talk about first buyer transformation in your in your chapter 10 a little bit, but I think one thing that I really like about that is it's first buyer transformation, but also where is that first buyer coming from? Because even within the first buyer, treating them and segmenting them separately to give them a little bit more tailored experience, that's what we focus on, so that when they're thinking about buying 2 months from now or 6 months from now or whatever supply they're looking to buy, they look at it and say, oh, you know what? This company knows who I am. They actually care. So I'm going to keep my loyalty here. So I think that's one important piece that we take away.
Yeah, and as you stated, and I love that you are one of the practitioners, which is actually giving away the shortcuts while you are testing out things, and that's why I really love chatting with you, and I'm really grateful for your presence in my life, actually, because there are many people which are playing in the e-commerce arena, and they are keeping these insights to themselves and letting the other ones struggle with the same with the same things. But what I love about your approach and also your company is that when you are selling a product, you're not selling the product itself, you're selling the transformation, you're selling the
That's right.
progress, you're getting
That's
people
right.
from this point to that point. And unless you know what that point is, what's the desired outcome, you can't onboard customers properly, because we've seen this multiple times. First time buyer, hit him with a discount and hope for the best, and then go again and tweak the CPC on Facebook so that you get more customers on board. But that's not onboarding. That's actually the opposite of onboarding.
It's the opposite. Yeah, you hit it so spot on. I think one of the biggest pieces, like I think when we look at even the way we're treating our customers when they're coming into our company, okay, it's so important when we look at these people, and we're not perfect, so there's some things we mess up on, but I think you talked a little bit about this part too, is like bridging the gap between what a customer desires and how a company behaves, right? And I think we're very, very intentional about that one point, right? A lot of times, even if let's just talk about welcome series for a second, okay, in the
Yeah,
onboarding process, welcome to the company, etc. And if you think about it, we talk to the customers and say, hey, welcome to my company, welcome to Obvi, go and check the discount or check out these products, etc. The problem is we are looking at and this entire audience, and we say, hey, here is my company journey and you should follow it, and thank you for coming along, okay? However, each person who's receiving that same bulk message, they have their own journey of why they're there. There are some people who maybe follow me on LinkedIn and wanted to buy and support from me, and there's some people who have a life-threatening a hair problem or skin problem or nail problem, and they are looking at Obvi as the last resort before they get surgery. Okay, so you need to recognizing why the person is there, and not just overarching sending out these global messages from the company, is I think really important. And again, I love that whole understanding company journey versus customer journey, because just because we have a company journey doesn't mean each customer's journey fits into that, right?
yeah,
So I think it goes back to this broad messaging is something that I think needs to become extinct in a way.
yeah. One other aspect which I think it makes sense for you as well is uh, that in the onboarding phase, you have to make sure that the customers are actually consuming your product. And in order to consume the product, you need to remind them how to do it. Maybe there are some special conditions. Maybe they need to get the product in the morning, or maybe they need to get the product and it's part of the whole sandwich. Your product plus something else will help them to make progress. But that
Exactly.
means you need to coach them on how to benefit from your product. Otherwise, you can't hope for retention and loyalty, right?
Yes, exactly. It's such a good point where a lot of what we do is, oh, they bought from me once, I know at least 30 to 40% of them I'm going to buy again. And that's why one thing you see a lot of is as the customer ages more with your company, we tend to communicate less. And the reason is because our expectation and what we take for granted increases, right? So the longer you're staying with me, I don't have to. I'm gonna take it for granted. You're gonna stay with me. Like, why do I need to take special care of you? And the
Yeah,
truth is, the larger the customer lifetime value is increasing, the more we should care about that person. And the more we should communicate and tailor and learn more and more about them. And I think that's that weird dichotomy that's happening right now. And that's why that personalized onboarding piece, again, something you touch on, but I think something we're also really kind of care about is that tailored onboarding to make sure that people are there and we are addressing the reason they are there. Even if it's a small custom snippet in an email that says, hey, we saw that you were looking for a solution for your hair. We found out in the post-purchase survey, let's just say how we found
yeah,
out. You can find out different ways. You put that little snippet and everything else can be a template. But that one level of customization makes that person think, oh, they know why I'm here, right?
yeah.
They recognize it. So yes.
Which also means that you care about them, because in this I mean, we are all seeing what's happening. I mean, 2021 was a completely different year for e-commerce than it's 2023, and we are and basically you can't rely anymore on the old techniques which are only top of the funnel. I think it's all about the journey itself, and in order to improve the customer journey, you need to leverage these kind of things like you've mentioned, this post-purchase survey, knowing more about the customer so that you are relevant down the line. And those things can be also automated nowadays. But if all you are doing as a brand is making sure you have enough products to sell and making sure that you are having your campaigns active, that's not going to cut it in the future. And I also wanted to pick your brain on this aspect, Ron. How do you think the future is going to look? Because it's clear that I'm completely obsessed with these things. I think
You
I,
are.
I think that in the future the brands will differentiate themselves, but by taking close action, like being very, very obsessed with every step within the customer journey, because otherwise you look like everyone else.
Yes. I think what's going to happen is customer budgets are going to keep shrinking and become more and more intentional. So I'm personally also spending less money, but I'm spending the money, more of the money that I want to spend with the people and companies that care about me. Okay. So I think
Yeah,
what's going to happen here is because we all care about, because of the macroeconomics, etc., I think we all are becoming more and more intentional with what we buy. And unless we're fully price driven, okay, and if something is just, a ridiculously low cost price, you are going to ask the question about why do I spend with this company?
yeah,
And it may be a referral or word of mouth that tells you, hey, they are good. You may read reviews that say, hey, they are really, really good. They care about you. Or you may read that, hey, this is a really, really good, overall trending product and company. But all of it's going to stem from people talking about the fact that this is a brand or a company that cares. And I think care is going to be the C that comes in customer lifetime value. You have to care to get CLV from customers.
yeah.
I think that's the future.
I totally agree with you, Ron, and I think this can happen also if you have, let's say, this level of empathy. Some companies say, what should we care about it? I mean, the bigger the company gets, the more standardized, KPI driven, I mean, a bit soulless, let's say. But when you are in this position where you're not big enough so that everything couldn't be like a procedure, like if this then that, and you can be more, let's say, flexible and adaptable to what the customers want. I think that's going to be an unfair advantage in against the bigger guys.
I fully agree. I think the one group of customers that this will not affect that much are the group of customers that are maybe middle market America, that is your commodity shoppers, right? They buy commodity products
Yeah,
in commodity suppliers like a Walmart, but everyone else, I think, are now going into a place where they're like, why should I spend here? What's the reason? They're looking for multiple reasons, not just to buy a product, but multiple reasons to buy into a company. And I think that's super important.
yeah. What do you what are your thoughts, Ron, on this? Let's say leveraging these uh, jobs to be done. Let's say understanding, hey, you are buying the same product but for a different purpose because you have, let's say, different narratives in your hair in your head to buy this collagen. Maybe you have this motivator against that motivator.
Yeah. I mean, you touched on this a little bit, even in chapter 10 with the real life case study. Okay. And I think it's a good place and a good time to talk about that real quick, because I think what's really important here is a brand has always been correlated to selling a product to a consumer. I think where we are today is a brand needs to help customers overcome certain hurdles and make sure that that product is just one of the reasons that that hurdle can be overcame, right? This is why, like, let's say for Obvi, yes, we sell collagen, but we also sell you into a community of 75,000 women you can talk to. We also sell you into going into our group chats where we'll talk to you about your personal problems. We'll also send you a quiz to find out what other things you're dealing with and how we can help. We also send out surveys to find out and make sure that you can actually get tailored responses to what you're dealing with, right? So I think we're all going to have to add a service line in how we're going to, really create a solution for our customers. And so I believe we're all product and CPG companies, especially, are going to need even one line of service offering as well, because we can't just sell the product and hope that, hey, this should work.
Yeah. Also, this kind of approach, it's solving a lot of things, and I love the fact that you are leveraging the community, because at some point your job is done without hiring people to handle
Yeah,
things that the other customers have. Maybe the customers that are actually using this every day, they know how to fix this kind of problems, and it's in human nature to help the other ones, right? So I think
you nailed it.
your job as a brand was to create the context, the arena where those people can meet, and that leads, of course, to more people continuing to buy the products because it's clear that those are helping them make progress, right?
That's right. That's exactly it. And I think one of the pieces that we are now, at least, and I think this needs to be a mindset shift from founders, operators of businesses. We have to be scared about losing our customers. We need to switch where we take it for granted that they're going to convert and be retained, and we need to actually switch it to the other side and say, I'm scared about losing a customer. And so the way we're going about it is, whether I acquire 100 customers today, 1,000 or 10, I'm going to make sure that the experience, whether it's through unboxing, or the experience, whether it's through messaging, or what they get in their SMS a campaign, whatever it may be, we are trying to get as many details and zero party data on them, so that we can tailor the experience to make sure that they know that at least we're not taking them for granted. If they go and find a different product because they like it better, sure, that's fine. But I never want to lose a customer because they didn't feel like they knew who the brand was and that the brand cared for them.
Yeah, I love it, and I think that's customer centricity. The One of the first episodes was with Professor Peter Fader, and I love that you are basically applying these kind of principles by discovering them. So That's amazing. As when I see practitioners in the trenches, like I'm a former e-commerce entrepreneur, I've seen
Right.
how important it is, and I'm really excited when I see companies which are basically applying those principles from the academics or from the books, but adapting them to nowadays. Because even though the technology has been changing and we have a lot of let's say noise, the principles are all the same. Like
Yep.
under promise, over deliver, right? Make sure that you promise something that you can over deliver. And once you do this, and once you set up this type of this bar, then you'll be in the minds, the first to mind, because now the battle is on the mind, on the consumer's minds. And
That's
mainly
it.
they are bombarded with options. You have plenty, a plethora of other options than buy this the products that you're selling, right?
That's right. That's 100% right. And I think as the barrier to entry gets lower and lower for people to create brands and companies and products, we are going to have to elevate purpose and care and personalization and the onboarding experience. We're going to have to. That is going to be the biggest driver, I think, in future retention. It's not going to be the offer, because offers now, because there is no barrier to entry in most industries, offers are going to be out the door. Pricing is going to become commoditized for many products as we go into 2024 and 2025. So what's going to separate you is all those other touch points I just mentioned.
Yeah. So the product itself, it should be there in terms of quality, but it's not going to be enough. So that's why you need to wrap it with an outstanding experience, right?
Agreed. Exactly. I think the product is. I think it's going to become a very close tie between product and experience. Because product now, you kind of need to look at it as like consumers are taking it for granted that your product has to be good. Like you're in too much of an expensive environment to go out with shitty product. Like even the cost of retail, cost for advertising, cost for Facebook, Meta, TikTok, creating content, everything's so expensive that if you're leading out with a shitty product or a bad product, that is on you. And I think those people won't survive. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think it's a prerequisite now for your product to be good, if not close to great. Okay. So now if everyone has to meet that prerequisite, what's going to separate you are all the other qualifying factors.
Yeah. I want to share some great idea with you, which I think you're already applying in a sense, which basically, if you want to innovate and continue to have a thriving business in the future, you need to give your customers a seat at the board, right? They should be the ones steering the company. And one idea that we've got in a former episode was to from Michael Schrage. So he said, you know what if the companies of the future will be governed by the decisions of their thousands of customers? So what if we could not only hear from here and then about hey, our customers are pissed off about that, or we should be building that. What if in the future we will get statistical significance data from our customers regarding the direction of the company, and we will invite them to have a seat at the board? So when you do your next year's plans, you can have your voice, of course, in your leadership team and the founders. But if you have a statistically significant number of customers stating that hey, you should be building that product or you should be going in this direction, then why shouldn't you do it? I mean, it's clear.
I think so too. It's super clear. I'm more surprised that more people aren't doing it. I agree with that point, right? It's like we are seeing it in front of our eyes. What's happening to the market? How consumers are behaving? How easy people are creating brands and products and whitelisting and this that. It's only going to get accelerate, right? And so if you're not leading with intention, if you're not leading with like, here is why. I think back in 2019, before iOS changes happened, it was a good time when you had to explain the why behind your product really well. And I think that kind of got lost during this like gold rush of like
Yeah.
COVID time, this, that. And I think now we're back in an era where it's more than ever more important about your why, your purpose, your care, etc. So great anecdote that you mentioned there, because I fully agree with that.
Yep. So, Ron, thanks a lot for your time, and thanks a lot for being here with us in episode 10 of the virtual book tour of the CLV Revolution. As for you out there, if you are not following Ron, you better do that, because he's giving away a lot of gold nuggets around how to build an e-commerce, how to become customer centric, and how to be going in the retail game as well. So, Ron, again, thanks a lot for being here with me.
A pleasure to it's always a pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for putting out so much wisdom into our community.